His name is Hugo Pinell, a.k.a. Yogi. He was part of the San Quentin Six back in the days when they were in San Quentin, when we first turned into revolutionists and activists. Feeling like the police had did him wrong and feeling like he was a political prisoner, he did his best to break out. There were 6 people involved in this, and all of them were African. And they were all part of either the Black Panther movement or the Black Guerrilla family. They held the prison hostage and killed 3 police. 2 of them were white. One was a Mexican. And on top of that, they held 1 hostage, and she was a female. During the time that she was held captive.
Now, what he's talking about is the incident, I believe it was in 1971 in San Quentin, in which George Jackson tried to escape and he was ultimately killed. What it said is after a visit with his lawyer, he produced a pistol that he had tucked away and hidden somewhere in, they believe, either his afro or they believe it was a wig. I can't remember which. And then after that, after he produced a gun, as he was being escorted back from this visit, he then secured the keys from the 2 officers who was taking him back. And then after that, this riot ensued in which he attempted to escape and was killed on the yard by a guard. So that's what he's talking about.
3 of the dudes that was involved in the San Quentin Six did something kind of foul. They wound up raping her. So everybody, when they didn't get out, they wound up getting SWAT team involved and things such as that. So they came in and they took everybody down. It was a hostage situation, so they got another case. The case went down. They charged everybody with attempted escape, assault, battery, murder on 2 murders, and a rape. So he had a bad rap on his jacket. They charged everybody, and anybody who knows anything about prison knows that rape is one thing that we do not take lightly. So he goes to the shoe for this, and he's been sitting in this shoe for, I think it was 38 years. During this time, when he first got to the shoe,
now I'll try to interrupt as little as possible, but from the research that I did, I saw that he was actually in the shoe anywhere from 43 to 46 years. So there's a little discrepancy, but I believe that he was in the shoe much longer than 38 years, even though 38 years is a super long time to be in the shoe as well.
Brotherhood, which are the Black Guerrilla family's enemies, it's a white supremacist gang, had approached him about it. At that time, they were propping our doors, and we were good and getting stabbed, and we were stabbing, or they put us out on the wrong yard. We had to fight or do whatever we have to do. They were betting on fights and things such as this. It was right around the time, I'd say 5 years after George Jackson was killed, or found him. So the Aryan Brotherhood put a hit out on him, and this was 38 years ago, thinking that we would never get out. Like, everybody was like, who cares? This goes back to what I said when I said that people in prison have a very long memory, kind of like an elephant. They don't remember things. We may lay it dormant, but we remember that whatever was done in the dark will always come to light. So we fast forward to 2014. I'm 7.5 months away from going home. At the time, I'm 34 years old, waiting to get out, and they let everybody out the shoe. They sent us all to Folsom, to BR. As we're on the yard, Hugo Pinell pops up. He's like, oh, hey, what's up with Yogi? He's an old man at this time, and he tells us, he says, look, we're going to get the yard structure, so on and so forth, but we know that the Aryan Brotherhoods, the ADs, are going to come over here, and they're going to try to do something to me, because I still have that hit on my jacket. But at this time, it was supposed to be, we all formed a peace treaty, so we couldn't get out of this shoe. That was part of the hunger strike that we had for 4.5 months, so on and so forth. So we didn't think nothing of that. We was like, nah, we got a peace treaty. Ain't no way in here the Aryan Brotherhood's gonna come over here. Plus, it's only like 6 of them right now. So about a week goes by, more Aryan Brotherhoods come. They approach the Jama area and they tell us, they say, yeah, man, you know, you got to get out on Hugo. We're going to leave it up to you guys to get rid of him within 30 days. So we all sit down at the table, all of us Jammers, we sit down, and we have what's called a baraza. A baraza is basically like a meeting. And we're talking to each other, and we come up with the idea, like, look, Yogi wants to go to CR where the white boys are pretty much, they're not even active, they're like dormant, but all of the blacks over there on that yard function. So he said, but look, let me go to my visit to go see my daughter for the first time in 38 years, face to face and hug her. You know what I'm saying? Let me go to Canteen, and then this weekend I'll go to CR. It's already set up. But what people didn't realize was that the police also have a long memory. See, the police in here, when they can't do their own job, they'll send some inmates to go do your job for you. They give you a phone, give you a little bit of drugs, and they'll supply the knife. And then they'll tell you, we're going to go to the other side of the yard, and when you see us walk over there, you go ahead and do your thing, and we'll take our sweet little time getting over here, and we'll shoot at the other races instead of you guys, but we just want this done.
Now, what he's saying is definitely 100% true. I have seen times where the guards will turn their heads, for one, they don't want problems in prison because they don't have to do a lot of the paperwork. They wouldn't have to do a lot of paperwork. And then also the same way you have convicts who despise certain inmates who are in prison, dudes who have foul charges or what have you. You also have correctional officers and guards who despise those same individuals. And so I have seen times where, specifically a time in Ironwood, where the Crips, I believe, had a problem with an individual who was no longer wanted on the yard. I believe he may have been stealing or doing something that was going to create a racial issue. Somebody went and spoke to the guards, and the guards said, hey, man, listen, at a certain time, I'm going to be over here getting coffee, not paying attention, man. You guys handle your business, just don't kill him. And so there's definitely a whole lot of truth in guards looking the other way and pretty much giving the okay for acts of violence to occur in prison.
Now, most weird people would do it because they don't have any type of moral values, and they don't understand that this revolution is against the police. It's not for the police. Therefore, it's cops against robbers. If it was me, I would tell them, fuck you, feed your fish and throw you back in the ocean. But it wasn't. So we put security what we call OOS. See, OOS alone means that it's security. It's a constant state of practice. It's existing. It means that it is there to neutralize or eliminate any potential threat aimed at hindering the party's ability of carrying forth its works, politics, and practices on a daily basis. So we have 3 people on here because he's very important. For some odd reason, it just pans out that the police kill his security. Now, security usually stays within 5 feet. They tell the security that they have to back up 25 feet back on the line. We look around and well, our side of the yard is way on the other side.
Now, once again, I'm going to try to interrupt as little as possible. But for me, doing a lot of time in California prisons, what he's saying just makes no sense to me, because he's saying that they had a selected group of individuals to keep usalama or security on Hugo Yogi Pinell. And so he's saying that at some point in time, guards, administration, correctional officers, or whoever told them to back up. Well, I know that you can walk at least 3 in a group, right? So they couldn't have made everybody back up. I don't know how big this security detail was, but you can walk 3 individuals per group. Keep in mind, we're talking about a dude who is well known. He is an important part of their structure, and he is also 72 years old, so it's well known that, you had Aryan brothers or whites or whoever wanted him dead. And so, like I said, what he's saying is just doesn't make any sense. Why they would have a relaxed security unit on him. If that was the case, someone should have then said, okay, Yogi, you're going to have to go inside, man. Go inside yourself for your own personal safety, and we'll take care of whatever you need taken care of out here in terms of, getting you this, getting you that, if we're not able to protect you.
So we have to run about 40 yards to get to where he's at. And that's our section where we sit.
Let me just take that back.
So get out. It means that it is there to neutralize or eliminate any potential threat aimed at hindering the party's ability carrying forth his works, politics, and practices on a daily basis. So we have 3 people on him because he's very important. For some odd reason, it just pans out that the police kill his security. Now, security usually stays within 5 feet. They tell the security that they have to back up 25 feet back on the line. We look around, and well, our side of the yard is way on the other side. So we have to run about 40 yards to get to where he's at. And that's our section where we sit. We scope it out, we see a white boy named Beaver. He's starting to walk that way. And we're like, man, what the hell is going on? Because the Hambo wall where he's at leads to the alleyway to canteen. And that is the section for the Bloods. It's called Blood Alley.
So now what he's describing, I guess, is a day on the yard when Yogi was killed. He said that the police ordered, his security detail to back away 25 feet from him. Like I said, once again, that's crazy because you're allowed to walk at least 3 in a group. They're way across the yard. They see some white dude, going towards him, walking through Blood Alley. So that should have immediately been a red flag for dudes to get up and go over there. But like I said, they should have never even been that far away from him. I mean, just knowing who this individual was, man, to me, that's just, it's crazy.
So we're like, why is a white boy in Blood Alley? We kind of catch on. By the time we catch on, they start stabbing Hugo. One guy comes up behind him, grabs him in a bear hug, and take him to the ground. The other guy sits on him and starts stabbing him. Now, the white boys, they have a policy, and their policy is, we are to stab you until the police come and get us off of you. They cannot just stab you and then throw down the knife and lay down. And especially because they know it's about to cause a riot. So when they do it, they started stabbing Yogi. We see what's happening, so about 15 of us, it's only about 17 of us, we jump up, we start running. We have to go through the southerners area if we want to go across the yard. As we get right there, they make a wall, and they tell us, you guys can't come in our area, or so we'll kick it off with you. So we've got to go all around them to get to Hugo.
So what he's saying, just to make it a little bit more clear, once they see Yogi being attacked, they try to make a beeline to where he's being attacked. The quickest way over there is running through the area that is for the Southsiders. So the Southsiders make a wall and said, hey, man, you guys can't come through here. You guys can't come through here, and so some people will think, well, they should have ran through it anyway. But the Southsiders were right, because now when you guys are running through the Southsiders area, then they can say that, hey, now you guys are putting our security at risk. You guys may have weapons. We don't know if you're really running over there to save him or if it's a distraction or whatever. And so they formed that wall and made the individuals who were going to try to help Yogi run the long way, which of course gave more time for his assault, the dudes who was assaulting him, to continue assaulting him.
Time we get there, he's already pretty much dead. So 2 of my homies stomp out. One of the white boys that was holding him down, and they wound up killing him, crushing his skull. He let him get airlifted out. They killed Yogi. We had a big riot. People got shot with the Mini 14. Unfortunately, white boys got shot. Once again, everybody shoots at the blacks or the other race. They was set up by the whites. The thing that was so weird about it is, it wasn't even the inmates who set this up. It was the captain of that yard. He had a long memory, and he realized that when he first got to San Quentin, his name was Captain Riley. When he got to San Quentin, was around the time of the San Quentin 6. So he felt like he had a personal vendetta against Yogi.
Now, what he's saying is, when Yogi was stabbed, it pretty much was all put into play by the captain who ran the yard. Now, some people may think that that's far-fetched, or it sounds like some type of Shawshank Redemption movie or a plot or something like that. No, 100% true. I recently saw an interview, and I'll try to react to it soon, where it was a guard on that yard, and he admitted as much. He admitted that Yogi was targeted, and it was a hit that was allowed by the upper echelon of the administration. So for those who have never been to prison, while what he's saying may seem far-fetched, it is 100% true. Keep in mind that Yogi was accused of participating in a attempted escape back in 71, where you had 3 officers killed, along with three other convicts, I believe George Jackson and 2 white dudes. And so, yes, this captain, of course, felt a lot of animosity towards Yogi, because it's possible, and I believe it was possible, that he was working when this incident occurred. So just to give you guys a little background on what he's saying.
Now that Yogi's dead, may he rest in peace. We have lost a major factor to our organization. This is the founder, one of the main founders.
Now, let me just rewind this a tiny bit, because I want you guys to hone in and pay close attention to what this dude is saying. The dude who's talking was there on the yard when this happened.
Together against Yogi. Without a Yogi's dead, may he rest in peace. We have lost a major factor to our organization. This is the founder, one of the main founders of Jama. He has laid down bylaws. He has laid down his sweat, his blood, his tears for this. We have had hunger strikes.
He said that he's one of the founders of Jama, and I'm going to rewind that just a little bit one last time to let you guys know that Jama is gorilla in Swahili.
He has laid down bylaws. He has laid down his sweat, his blood, his tears for this.
Excuse me. Jama is family. Gaidi is gorilla in Swahili.
We have had hunger strikes where we've starved ourselves just to get a point across in the change of rule or regulation. This was during the time when us and our Northern Brown brothers were so strong that it was an unbreakable bond. After he died, a lot of my Northern Brown brothers and us, we thought that we should go ahead and kick it off and have a second wave. Because, yes, we killed one of them, and they killed one of ours. But basically, if you look at it, people say, well, it's a death for a death. No, it's not. It's like you just traded right there a Ricky Henderson card for a Babe Ruth rookie card. We lost a major factor. They lost their nobody.
Now, he says right there, I couldn't quite make out what he said, but he said it's basically like you guys just traded a 2-cent baseball card for a very valuable baseball card. Then he goes on to say we lost a major factor. And to me, that just reinforces my point of saying, knowing who that individual was when he hit the yard, security should have been placed on him. There was no way security should have been allowed to trail this individual 25 feet, knowing the particulars around his story and the politics that he was caught up in, and knowing that there was a order to take his life by another faction, right? So I have to stress this once again, we are allowed to walk in groups of 3. So if in fact it is true that administration said, hey man, this guy has to walk alone, which is crazy, because it's in the Title 15, which is a book that governs the rules and regulations and policies of the prison, not only for convicts, but for the staff administration as well. And it states in that book that we can be in groups of 3. And that was created because they did used to have individuals exercising and working out in large militant type groups, and they didn't want that type of structure. So they made it where you could only be in groups of 3. And so if they said you guys can't even be in groups of 3, then once again, Yogi should have been asked very firmly to go inside the cell. That way security could be put on him until they could figure out what was going on with this you have to walk by yourself policy.
It hurt. Yet everybody looked at it, the higher ups that was still around what we call the committee, that said, hey, look, bro, if you look at it, he's kind of wrong. He had a hit out on him. He's done certain things. He's got problems within the organization. We're going to let it go because it's a peace treaty. A lot of us felt like, fuck a peace treaty. What do you mean? If it was a peace treaty, he wouldn't have did it at all. On top of that, the rules and regulations of a level 4 yard state that if one of mine have to go, the blacks are to remove him. Not the white boys. It's an automatic. It's an automatic foul. for another race to put their hands on another race. Whether you're black, white, Mexican, Northern, brown, brother, whatever it may be, also or other. So it hurt. But it showed us that sometimes perception is more deadlier than reality.
Now listen, I'm an individual who I feel I definitely know how to separate prison politics from things going on in the free world. And I do not bring that type of stuff home with me. Never been a racist, never will be. But in prison, when you are in prison, you have to conduct yourself like you're in prison. Same as when you're on a roller coaster. You have to conduct yourself like you're on a roller coaster. If you're putting your hands up and all this type of stuff, you may have your hands or your fingers knocked off by some of the stuff that you're zooming by. So I say that to say, in this particular situation, after the whites killed Yogi, there was supposed to be a response. You heard him say that the higher ups was just like, okay, well, we killed one of them in the riot. It was a life for a life. No, because in this situation, there has to be a large amount of racial pride. It has to be, okay, we cannot allow any other race to much less harm, but kill someone of us, and we not take a revenge stance and go out and get cracking right now. A lot of people may have not heard about, it was an individual who was white who was killed. I did read that when I was locked up in a newspaper known as the San Francisco Bay View. And they talked about they had three individuals, three brothers from the Bay who were being charged in that death, if my memory serves me right. Then at some point, charges was dropped and they was eventually released and let go back to the main line. They was charged with that death, I believe, and if my memory serves me correct, also with the kicking and stomping of another individual who was like in a vegetable type state in the hospital due to being kicked in the head with boots and so on and so forth. So you did have a lot of brothers from the Bay that day get cracking. But once again, being the monumental figure who Yogi was to that organization, there still was supposed to be another revengeful moment the next time they were allowed back to the yard.
The people who you think really are supposed to protect you and serve you, put their face on TV and say, oh, we're here to protect society. We make sure that everybody's safe. This mace, this badge, this black gun, and this Mini 14 is here for your protection. No, it's not. That's the same way George Jackson got killed. Now imagine, you were in a shoe yard by yourself. They let you out on the yard and said they had to blow your brains out because you had a 9mm in your afro. Now how the hell can that happen? It's unbelievable, right? I suggest you guys look it up. Look up George Jackson, the death of George Jackson. George Lester Jackson. Look up the death of Hugo Pinell. Look up the life of Geronimo Pratt in the San Quentin 6. These are the founders that have shed their blood for us to be able to walk these main lines today. And yet, revolutionists such as myself still give our everything for that. If we ever get our hands on Beaver, it's over. But we must understand that we must watch ourselves at all times. Because every move, every step, every breath that we take, we must understand that we can wind up just like Yogi.
Now, you heard him say, if we ever get our hands on Beaver, it's over for him, or it's a wrap, or something along those lines. Beaver is ultimately the individual who was charged with the taking of the life of Yogi. But once again, individuals on that yard, knowing the system, know how things work, knowing that they was not going to have action at Beaver ever or anytime soon, right? So, and once again, it goes in prison. If we can't get the individual who is directly responsible, then of course your people have to take the brunt of his actions, right? They have to suffer for his repercussions, right? And so once again, to take the life of someone so important to that particular faction was definitely an act that called for revenge. Once again, Also, here is another race putting their hands on an individual that functions with another race because Yogi was not black. To my understanding, he was Nicaraguan. Still in all, he functioned with the blacks. And so to me, the ball was definitely dropped several times in this whole story, you know, from the faulty security, allowing this dude to be attacked, from not being close by, from then once again when he was attacked and his life was lost, not having a revenge attack. It's just a whole lot of stuff that is just really makes no sense to me.
Nothing is guaranteed. A lot of people think just because you got a parole date that you're going to go. Now, a parole date means that there's just a date that date's going to open where they have to let you go. But the key factor to this is you must first make it to your parole date. If for the cost of a little bit of nothing, stepping on somebody's shoe or saying fuck you to an organization or cussing somebody out, not showing them respect, talking over them on the tier, so on and so forth, or you putting your hands on a CO, the enemies of us get you killed by your own fraction or get you set up 25, 30 years down the line. Why is that so? It's so because they have taken the threats that the threat to California Department of Corrections and put us in a shoe. They lock us down for 23 hours a day in a room where you don't get to see the sun. Your back window is blanked out with black paint so you can't see outside. Your front window, when you look at it, you're looking at a white wall. It's called sensory deprivation. You don't have contact with another man. You don't have contact with the outside world. In some places, they make you read your mail on a monitor. It's amazing. If anyone had 3 dogs and put 3 dogs in a cell the size of one of our shoe cells, you get a ticket for cruelty.
Okay, so that's pretty much it right there. I mean, if a person wants to check this video out in its entirety, you see it right there on the screen. It is Death of a Legend, Hugo Yogi Pinell. Above that, it says Jerome White, but I believe you can find that in The Death of a Legend, Hugo Yogi Pinell. And so once again, like I was saying, none of this makes sense to me, right? I think he may go on to say that you did have several individuals of that structure who wanted revenge, but the higher ups was pretty much just let it go. You know, there's a peace treaty going on right now. He's talking about the End All Hostilities Act. Well, if there was a peace treaty going on, then he never should have been harmed. So they harmed the peace treaty when they chose to take the man's life. So like I said, once again, none of this stuff makes any sense to me. This is a video I've been wanting to react to for quite some time. Anyway, man, y'all already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.